A lot of boxing fans out there thought that Oshaki Foster got robbed in the first fight between Oshaki Foster versus Robson Conceicao, myself included. I thought Oshaki won the first time I watched it. So I decided to watch it again to see what the judges were looking at. And I had to admit, it was a lot closer than I thought. Robson Conceicao, even though he was missing a lot of punches, he was the more busier fighter, no doubt. And it all depends on what the judges like to see in there. Do they like the aggressor or the finesser? And that night, the judge seemed to like the aggressor more. But at the same time, it was a split decision, meaning that one of the judges had Oshaki Foster winning on the scorecards. So it was a close fight. But something that I did notice that Oshaki was doing a lot that I think that turned off the judges was he was being way too passive. Not enough punches being thrown by Foster. He needed to turn up the volume. That was a problem, I think, for Oshaki. His back foot style looked good because he was using the shoulder roll in there, making Conceicao miss. But all I'm saying is, if you're going to do all that work to make a guy miss, you might as well make him pay, right? But even though the fight was closer than I thought, I still thought that Foster did enough to get the win by a split decision, a point or two. But what do I know? I'm not a judge. But what I do know is I've noticed that Robson Conceicao has been given an awful lot of championship shots for whatever reason. They keep putting Robson Conceicao in championship fights, and every time he comes up short. The first time that Bob Arum and Top Rank gave Robson Conceicao a championship opportunity was versus Oscar Valdez, and he lost that fight. And then they decided to give good old Robson another go at a title shot versus Shakur Stevenson. And that didn't go the way that Robson was hoping it would go. It was a total shutout. Shakur just outclassed Conceicao. And then the third opportunity that Top Rank granted to Robson was versus Emmanuel Navarrete, where he got floored twice, but they still gifted him a draw. So you see what I mean now? When I say that I've noticed an interesting trend between Top Rank and Robson. On his fourth opportunity at a championship belt versus Oshaki is when they decided, Bob Arum and Top Rank decided, said, fuck it. Robson Conceicao is not going to be able to get it done himself, even though we've given him, we keep throwing him alley-oop after alley-oop. Bob Arum decided to step in and just say, fuck it. We're just going to have to take it from one of our champions and give it to Robson Conceicao. And unfortunately for Oshaki, it happened to be him. Yo, there must be a large boxing community in Brazil or even here in the U.S. that Bob Arum must be trying to tap into because they won't give up on Conceicao for whatever reason. That's the only thing I could come up with. If you know something about this trend, the Robson Conceicao and Top Rank trend, yo, help a brother out, man. Leave it in the comment section. But anyways, back to the rematch. I'm excited for this one. I'm pulling for Oshaki Foster again. I want him to get his belt back. So let's go over some keys to victory for good old Oshaki. Key to victory number 1. Don't leave it up to the judges. If Oshaki can not leave it up to the judges, don't risk getting robbed again. Because remember, for whatever reason, they really want Robson to hold a belt. Remember, Oshaki, they don't want it in your hands. They want it in Robson Conceicao's hands. Remember that. And don't forget it. I know that it's a lot easier said than done, but at the very least, Oshaki is going to have to take some big risks and land some power shots to the jaw and the ears of Robson to try to get him out as early as possible. So that leads me to my second key to victory, which is to fight on the front foot. Obviously, from the results of the first fight, these judges like aggressors over the finessers. So I would say Oshaki, man, step to that motherfucker, man. Beat him at his own game. You don't have to fight on your back foot to be slick and defensively sound. You can be slick in the pocket. A good example of that is Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez doesn't really move his feet much, but if you guys remember back in that Daniel Jacobs fight, he was in the pocket and Daniel Jacobs couldn't hit Canelo Alvarez at all. So yeah, I would say step to that motherfucker, man. It's a lot easier to fight coming forward instead of fighting on the back foot. I'm just saying though. Also, find out who the judges are. You know what I'm saying? Have your team go and dig up some homework. Make them do some homework. You know what I'm saying? Find out who these judges are. Find out what they like. Do they like the aggressor? Do they like the finesser? And then move accordingly. And then the third key to victory would be, I would say, just be more aggressive overall. Whether Foster is coming forward or moving back. If you're moving back, instead of just making Conceicao miss, make him miss and also make him pay. Don't just hit him with a jab. You know what I'm saying? Hit that motherfucker with a quick left, the overhand right, after setting it up with the 1-2. You know what I'm saying? That is one thing I can say about Robson Conceicao. He is tough as nails. He's tough as they come. Even though he's came up short on all of his big fights, not one guy could say that they've knocked out Robson Conceicao. Conceicao, win or lose, he goes all 12 rounds. He don't get KO'd. So the task is going to be harder than Oshaki thinks. So I would say don't necessarily go for the KO, but try to get at least a knockdown or two. Make it hard for those judges to try and rob you. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, my prediction, I've got Oshaki Foster for the win. I think he'll get his get back tomorrow night. Give me a unanimous decision. Hopefully the judges get it right this time. But that's all I got for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this has been your boy O-Dog, boxing in the mouth. This bitch.